I actually think that the turning point was when we lost our children. Because I thought that you get married and children just come. And then they didn't. And then when you lose a child and you lose another one, and then you lose another one, I mean, you're like, what's going on here? And I remember at the time, I've been Catholic, I've had a close relationship with God, and that time it was really tested. And I remember going to a spiritual director, and I would go and I would cry and I would be upset, and it was a dark phase. And I think I saw that spiritual director possibly for 6 months. And then one day I walk in, and he tells me, "Don't you think it's time you stopped crying?" First I was like, "You've got to be kidding me." Did you just hear what I've been through? Yeah, I'm like, first of all, I left in a huff, and then I started reflecting, and I realized that it's very comfortable to build a house in misery. You just sit there and you just enjoy the mud. Apply it on yourself and be sure it's not a mud cleansing bath. You are just enjoying the pain because it takes so much more to rise up from that state.
True.
And I remember going home and reflecting, and then I went back and I asked him, "What did you mean?" He said, "What if the time for crying is over? And what if it's time to now look forward? Maybe count your blessings." And that's when, for me, family is a strong value, was really tested. And I removed myself from spaces where I knew I have to keep choosing family or. Because until it's tested, to your point earlier, then it's not really a value. We could say it's family, it's whatever. So that last child was really a turning point for us. And what happened that made the turning point after I got over my upset with the spiritual director is I met a lady who asked me, because it was I was in a very public job, and it was very obvious. I mean, I was 20-something weeks. So you meet people and they tell you, "So who did you get?"
Oof.
And I was like, I had went for therapy to practice the answer to that question. Because I was like, how will I? I'm going back to this very public job with a lot of senior leaders who, because I've been away for a couple of months, they think it's a maternity leave. But I don't have a child, right? That child didn't come. So I meet this lady, and she says, "So who did you get?" So I had rehearsed the answer. Our baby went to heaven. And I rehearsed it until it became a rhetoric. So I told her, "Our baby went to heaven." And then she said, "But where else would you want your child to go?"
Wow.
And I thought to myself, whoa, I got this thing all mixed up. I thought this child was for me, my husband, a small sister for our firstborn. So I started answering the question that we are really caretakers of everything we have, including children. And sometimes, for me, the lesson was you can be so desperately looking for something until it becomes a God.